They've been talking a lot of things about the Bob. Follow God, you must protect all the Bob. Follow in the Son, the Holy Spirit. Living up for God, tell the depart and not give it. They've been talking a lot of things about the Bob, but I can't follow God, you must protect all the Bob. Go!
God can bless me, let's say, like only my one he knows. I've long been ungrateful, yes, so I just want to thank you. The team, what you do, I know you ought to pay. I just drop on my knees and pray. Stories have plenty, I know what to say, and I know what to say. Clip our lead and I follow. Look at the thing you do for crowd, and I even know about tomorrow. Oh, I just want to pray. Get somebody help me pray. Get on your knees and pray. I just wanna pray. Oh, I just wanna pray. I used to fornicate, smoke weed and cup fun. When it come to church, Ben, I used to go one time. But what kind of papa I saw ya? I don't deserve the things you do for me, oh. So I just wanna thank you, oh, for your blessing, your mercy, your hella ball love, and your favor. I know how to thank you, oh. Too much of Tina, you did, papa. Too much of Miracle, you wet, papa. The power there for me. Yeah, my homie wearing black, but now I'm followed by young, feeling losing his soul. So I just wanna pray. So they pointed you in my boom, and my story like one more to be killing a June. I just wanna pray. Get somebody help me pray. Get on your knees and pray. I just wanna pray. Oh, I just wanna pray. Clipper, you know me, oh, you know me more than I know myself. Like you the one, the reason, yeah. TCP, oh, yeah. Like to shine. Like to go. Bless you. They don't know that clip what I feel. The papa can run the show. Satin and I carry on. You give me shit, tell me red, I hold rim. So I'm counting my blessings one by one. One step in the day, I hold top. God blessing you full of. Yes, swallow you, I will run to. When push kinda sharp, oh. The things you did for me is more than enough. I just wanna pray. Get somebody help me pray. Get on your knees and pray. I just wanna pray. I just wanna pray.
R.I.P. Quincy B.
It's your boy. All of the beats.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I just wanna pray.
Well, what better way than to get our program started? This is the roundtable discussion, and today marks the second edition of our program. Welcome one, welcome all. Welcome to you in Liberia, Monrovia, City, Kakata, Margibi, wherever you find yourself. Welcome to the roundtable discussion. I'm your host, your humble servant, Elston, the legend we say, and we are live on the Across Africa Network. The program is also on YouTube, on the Closing Arguments page. And as you see us, we're live on Facebook. This is my colleague, Francis Jabate, a regular on the Spoon Late Night Show. And we expect to have other people flocking in. We have other panelists that will be coming in. We expect to see the level of Fatima Bintu and Madam Glendy, Jean. And we expect a guest to appear on the program sometime today, the boss of the Liberian DEA, Mr. A.B. Kroman. Hopefully we'll get him on. And I expect some calls to come in from some of our law enforcement gurus here in the United States. Mr. Alfred Jar Johnson had opted to more than likely phone in and give his words to the Liberian people relative to policing and all that is unfolding in our country relative to the drugs and so on. So with that, without more ado, let me say hi and welcome to you, my brother Francis. You're muted, Francis.
I'm so sorry. Thank you. Thanks for having me once again, and thanks to our followers, your followers for following. It's always good to be on these platforms where we can talk Liberia. Like the president said, think Liberia, love Liberia, build Liberia. But we are all Liberians regardless of political affiliation. So whenever we get the opportunity to talk Liberia, I'm always available. So it's good to be here.
You are highly appreciated, my dear brother. And we have a plethora of discussions today, considering where we are in our dispensation. There are a lot of things unfolding in our country right now, and very sticky amongst them is this whole issue of this missionary Lucas and our own sister Jessica. And we all know the proliferation of drugs that this incoming government is battling. There were some drugs found by the DEA. Hopefully our guest, Director A.B. Kroma, can throw some serious insight into that. And actually, that's what the permanent reason why I brought him, I elected to bring him on, so that he can enlighten our people, since he took over. What is he doing, to bring sanity to our country, because a lot of our youth have lost themselves to unfortunate situation like the consumption of drugs and other paraphernalia. So yeah, with that said, let's kick the ball rolling. Francis, what would you say that's on your mind? Let's start with what's on your mind. Anything that is kind of like a sticky issue, something that is meaningful in our dispensation. What's on your mind, my brother?
Yeah, what's on my mind? It's probably not a topic that we are that you have to discuss tonight, but it's something. The fire situation in Liberia. It's it's a disaster. Our people are losing their valuables, their little belongings. They can scramble together, save up their money, and build a little house somewhere, and it just go in a twinkle of an eye, and people are losing their lives. It's been bothering me for a while. It seems like every time we talk about it, like once a week or maybe twice a week, there is a fire somewhere, not just in Liberia, but Monserrate County. I believe I think this week or some part of this week or so, there was one fire in Bon County, but out of every 10 fires or maybe 20 fires, maybe 0 is outside of Monserrate. And last week when that, I believe, a VOA, that fire incident that burned a toddler, I believe, 4 or 5 years old, they took him to the hospital and he passed away the next day. And with that happening, it really broke me. As you know, I also host my own show called Meet the Challenge.
Exactly. Let me applaud you for your show. That's a very very meaningful contribution to our country. We need education to be solid in our dispensation, and I'm glad that you elected to do that. I'm very, very supportive of your idea, and let me open it through this medium. Say thanks a lot for giving back in that manner.
Yeah, but because of this fire situation, I had to temporarily suspend that show because, as you know, I'm self-funding that show. Every penny I give away is from just me, so I had to suspend that because I want to focus my attention on helping folks with this fire situation. So what I decided to do was put out a challenge to every major platform. We can all take up the challenge to help our people in Liberia, called Operation We Are Firefighters. That's what I'm doing, and I'm raising funds and accepting donations in the form of smoke alarm and fire extinguisher. That's what I'm doing. Hopefully, over the next 2 to 3 months, my goal is to personally purchase at least 1,000 smoke alarm. I know that's just a drop in the bucket when it comes to Monserrate County, but I hope everybody, I'm not trying to take credit for anything. I'm not asking anybody to collaborate with me. If they want to, that's fine. But we all that have platforms, big or small, can just, for the next 3 months, put everything aside, take up the challenge, and let us raise anything we can put our hands on that help to give our folks a fighting chance. Because most of the people that are unfortunate are getting burned or dying in these fires, it's because it's too late for them to escape the fire. And most of the time, these fires occur at night. So when the heat is already upon them, the exits have been blocked off. That's when they are being alerted that there's fire. But when there's if you have a smoke alarm in the house, it's not going to prevent the fire, but the moment that happens, the
It
moment
kinda
that the fire a trip, and you can escape, right? Just one example, yesterday evening, I was our boiling water to sanitize my baby, my son's bottle, right?
Yeah.
So I was in the living room watching TV, and I left the pot boiling in the kitchen. Bro, I forgot about it, right? The water evaporated from the pot, and then the pot was still on the stove.
Right.
The next thing, my smoke alarm went off. Thankfully, there was no smoke, but because of the heat in the kitchen, it triggered my smoke alarm, and I ran to the kitchen. I was able to turn the stove off and take off the pot and open up the window. So I just thought about that. I said, see, thank God I decided to do this. But this is just a classic example as to why our people need smoke alarms and fire extinguisher. So anybody who's interested in helping, if you don't have your own platform, you're looking for a way to help, you can contact me. If you're a follower of the legend, you can reach out to him. He can contact me. But let all of us come together. Even if you want to copy this challenge, do it yourself. Let's all raise hundreds of thousands of smoke alarm and fire extinguisher over the next maybe 4 or 5 months and send it to Liberia. Even we put one in each home. It's not going to prevent fire, but it will give our people a fighting chance so that they're able to escape fire, so that we're not having all these casualties that's happening until the government can figure out how to get this fire service together and reach our people.
Right.
The least we can do is help give them a fighting chance. So that's the challenge. Hashtag we are firefighters. If you can post it on your page, whoever watching, post it on your page. Let's make it go viral in the Liberian community, even in our African American community or the Western community. You never know who will see it, and they will be able to support our cause and help our country. Thank you.
You couldn't have said it any better. And when we speak of these things, it's because somehow we are opportune to live in a structured society where the things, they are like they are normal occurrences. Like you see them on a normal basis, having a fire extinguisher, having a fire alarm set up in your home. But then we kind of like think about our country with the inconsistency in electricity. We want a society to boom, but a society cannot boom if you don't have electricity on a consistent basis, because it kind of disrupt everything. So say for instance, somebody come to your country to invest, and they are trading in goods, and those goods need to be on ice on a regular basis, whether in a warehouse or in a store, what have you. There is lack of consistency in the power, and there's fluctuation of power. There's power outages on a regular basis. That person business not going to thrive as a result of that. That person going to quit or find another option. More than likely, take their money somewhere, because the sole purpose of people trying to invest in a country is to gather resources and to make profits. And so you can only but do so much. But if things get better, it gets better for each and every one of us. That's why we said this government, and a lot of people who supported the government said they wanted a rescue from the government from the past, because things were not as fluid, things were not going the right way the Liberian people expect them to go. So everybody was opting for a change, and we got to change, but we expect it to reflect now in the life and the livelihood of our people. So, having said that, let's kind of like drift here and there and pick up the topics. What's your own perception on this whole Lucas case, this missionary who went to our country and almost slit the throat of our sister Jessica, and he was acquitted by George Cheney. And I see a lot of pointing finger toward him. A lot of people saying it's not more so the government, but the judge that ruled in the case has some questioning hands. He's a questionable character. I'm hearing from a lot of people in various sectors. He has questioning. What's your own take, my brother?
Legend, this whole is sad. It's sad for our country. On the international stage, they make us look like a fun box, like a play toy where anybody can just go and just do whatever they want to do. I mean, there are perverted people all over the world, especially in the West, and they look for third world poor countries to go and with their predatory behaviors, what behavior they will not get away with in the West, in their country, They used third world countries to go and certify their predatory behaviors. Unfortunately, Jessica is a victim of that guy, of the one of these predators. You know, he went to Liberia under the disguise of being a missionary, somebody that people would trust. You know, somebody that people would trust, and he used his position of authority and or influence to prey on Jessica and her mother, because Jessica was not dating him behind her parents' back. You know how growing up back home, people would sneak around. They don't want our mom and dad to know that they're dating somebody, but the mom knew about it. But why you think these things happen? Because of this living condition our people are faced with in Liberia. They are struggling. It's either you rich or you poor in Liberia. So if somebody is struggling, if you see somebody that come to you like your knight in shining armor that's going to take care of you or take care of your daughter and stuff like that and help you out, alleviate some of the financial burden from you, most of our parents go and fall for it. And unfortunately, they fell for the wolf in sheep clothing. And then after that, our government failed them. I say our government because that's a separate branch of government.
Right.
And the justice system failed Jessica and failed Liberia as a whole. You know, Jessica is just a direct victim, but the entire country is a victim because for him to come out and say no, insufficient evidence. What evidence do you need than the person who was going to be murdered telling you what happened to her?
Right.
What evidence do you need? So I don't know if Lucas was cross-examined, and I think the state did a terrible job. I don't know how much they presented,
Right.
because I'm hearing that the motorbike riders that rescued Jessica,
Right.
I'm not sure actually, but said he did not test. They did not. I know he or one or two of them did not testify. And then there were stories coming out that they gave conflicting stories, but still, the picture alone when she of her neck, you know, the picture alone. And when I saw the interview of Lucas when he was taken to the police station after the incident, he was explaining that she was ran over by a motorbike. It is highly unlikely that a motorbike will cause a laceration to your neck.
Someone's neck.
You know, so for that to just come up quickly in a bench trial, I don't know why. I mean, I know the defendant has the right to opt for a bench trial or a jury trial, but why would a judge not even? I don't get it, man. It's
Come to think about it. What is the likelihood? You and I will live in this this very powerful country. What's the likelihood of somebody, a migrant, coming to this country and committing something as heinous as what that Lucas guy did to Jessica and getting away with it? It's almost not practical. It's not going to happen. They're not going to allow you. They're going to do everything within their power to get you to book. Probably 25, 30 plus years you're going to have to serve to pay for your wrongdoing. They will not let you go scot-free.
Just take a look at this, right?
Yeah.
Those boys that arrested, the guy that arrested Lucas and took him to the police station, I just want you to imagine, or our viewers to imagine,
right,
him breaking Lucas' arm. That guy was going to be put under the jail.
First.
They were going to find him guilty. They were going to charge him and lock him up. And imagine what he saw at the time when he was protecting Jessica. It's traumatizing. His excuse can be I blacked out because I did not. I blacked out when I saw him trying to kill this girl, and maybe while defending her, accidentally broke his arm or something like that. But he was going to be put under the jail. But the guy that won, he murdered her unborn child because he said she was pregnant, and he injected her with something that caused an abortion. So allegedly he murdered her unborn child. And then attempted murder. So now one could stick. The state couldn't make one stick. Then when you listen to the audio about them trying to bribe the mom with $10,000 so that they can drop the case. And I don't know if you're on the late night show with us the other night when we had the mom there, and she spoke about it. So this is an open secret, and that's the audio. So I'm glad that the representative from, I believe, Bond County put that on to the House, and they are going to investigate. And they should investigate both the defense and the state lawyers and that judge, because there's definitely some judgment. Justice over there. You know,
it's unfortunate.
It's sad, man. It's sad for our country.
It is unfortunate. And you know, I was listening to another platform where a lot of people were making insinuations about how this happened in this government, and then they started to make comparison on things that have happened already in the last coming up to 100 days in the government before and the government now, and they were making a lot of contrasting statement. And something I gathered from there was like, how can you say you're comparing a government that served 6 years to the one that just served under 100 days? Thinking about this like this, okay, you people did 6 years, and during your 6-year tenure, a lot of time things will happen in the country, something very meaningful, and the leader will not speak on them. But now, people who are aligned or who supported with this government coming to power, when they see things wrong, like, you know, how Mr. Amara Conan kind of like pointed out on some things since they took over that he's seen wrong, even Senator Dillon, things that he have seen wrong since this government came to power, they are acknowledging the wrong and trying to work on it to make this government a better government. Think about it. When we had the government from before, I didn't see anybody who were, they were a bunch of blind loyalists, blind followers.
They were all yes men and yes women.
They did not see anything wrong what they did. But now you have a government that even the people in the higher echelon, like of Mr. Amara Conan, they are acknowledging what their wrongs are, and they are trying to work on it. That's why I always used to tell people it will be easier for this government to outdo the We Are government, because things that the people saw glaringly with their eyes, the We Are government, they did not acknowledge. The people in the higher ups, they would blindly tell the people there is not a problem, we don't have any problem, and they will not speak to anything. So how can you compare, you know, so your thoughts on that, something like that?
Yeah, but you see, unfortunately, this is what's suffering our country, right? In other parts of the world, people know that there are oppositions, but when elections are over, the country come together and hope that president, that is the current president, and hope and pray that he or she is successful. But in Liberia, it's the complete opposite. Every opposition want to see President Barker fail. Right. And what they fail to realize is, when he failed, we all fail.
Correct.
When he's successful, we are all successful. So if you're hoping that he fails just so you can say, "Oh, I was talking to my United Party people," or I was talking to the CDC people, or you are not thinking straight. Because for some of us, our prayer is for Liberia to get better. We don't want to be outside Liberia for the rest of our lives. And God has blessed us with kids. We all remember how sweet Liberia was when we were growing up. You know, even though some of us were born right before the war came, but those that could remember first grade, second grade time and stuff like that, we saw a little bit there. We want our children and our grandchildren and children to live in a better Liberia.
Right.
But when we see people saying, "Oh, 100 days deliverable," this and the other, yeah, I'm not going to fault them for picking 100 days, because yes, President Barker went and put out 100 days deliverable, but a rational person would know that within 100 days, not a lot can be done. Right. Not a lot can be done. No serious person will sit there and say, "Oh, all the rules are not pliable in 100 days, so the government failed." But give him a year, 2 years. Foundations has to be laid. Or in this case, foundation structure has to be broken down and rebuilt. Right. That's what's happening here.
And I was going to interject something. Government is continuity. The level of work the body of work done by the previous was so poorly done that this one have to struggle from the beginning to get things on the right footing. But like you said, let's keep going, let's keep building, let's hope that we all can see the country first versus seeing your party lineage and trying to say, oh, we don't want this government to succeed because they were hoping that we did not succeed. But go ahead, my brother.
Listen, Liberia is a very small country. Liberia is probably 1.5 times bigger than the state of Pennsylvania, or maybe the size of Tennessee. Why is the government in a very small country the highest employer? That's a problem. You see, and people don't get it. A lot of these things, even Nathaniel Senator McGill went on Spoon Talk, I believe 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, and said openly that, you remember when they talk about the 730 people at the executive mansion? He said that's how they created their jobs. They just put people on payroll, call it supplemental employees. So when the government said they were going to create jobs for people, it was just taking people, putting them at different governmental agencies, and putting them. They're not even going through the civil service agency to hire people like they're supposed to. They just put their names everywhere. Put them everywhere and said that was job creation. Then now President Barker is coming in and taking auditing these lists and things like that, and taking people's names off. They say, "Oh, you're taking breath for people's mouth." What sense does that make?
Right.
What sense does that make? Don't get me wrong. We know there are ways. In a lot of the appointees, the ministers, the lawmakers, they are getting paid ridiculous. The advisors are getting paid ridiculous amount. That's a separate discussion. We as Liberians, all Liberians, should be upset about that. Why are they making $7,000, $8,000 and getting cars, their houseboys paid for, their cooks paid for, everything and stuff like that, and then you cannot pay a Liberian $150? I did a calculation once before. One representative, if you take $2,000 from his or her salary, if you just reduce it by $2,000, that's about $206,000 a year.
Imagine what that can do.
That can pay 1,373 civil servant $150 a month for a year. 1,373 people can get paid every month. $150 if you just reduce one representative. I mean, if all the lawmakers, if you take $2,000 from that pay, right, a year you save 200 and let me get my math right, because I did.
Why you starting that? Let me take it from there. Come to think about it, you are so right. The exorbitant amount that they make, if they were to reduce their salaries, I'm sure other people have suggested that it would trigger down to what we say in the layman term, that money will trigger down to the rest of the people who are in government. If you want to be of help, go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, so if you because there are 103 lawmakers, right? 30 senators and 73 representatives. If you reduce that pay by $2,000, you would save $206,000 a month. Right. And in a year, you will save $2.4 million. That $206,000 a month. Yep. That can pay 1,373 civil service $150. So why? How you say you can pay people that on the lower totem, the bottom of the totem pole? You cannot pay them. But these people that are doing absolutely nothing for the country, you pay them the most.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate how the ladder is so tilted, to the people in the higher ups in society. But well, let's come to this whole drug. Let's kind of like graduate to this drug. The proliferation of drugs in our country from the previous to now, and where we are. How do you see this government tackling? What if you were to give your own idea from your your level of intelligence, what would you say should be a good way to tackle drug and help to curb the whole drugs, because it is unthinkable how the drug has spread in the Liberian society. What do you think?
That's done. I remember growing up, on Camp Johnson Road. I mean, I've never smoked in my life, anything and stuff like that. The most I do is drink, and I grew up, I started to do hookah in America, right?
Yep.
But I knew there was something called weed or marijuana in Liberia. Because the Barbadian, while living on Camp Johnson Road, Perry Street, the Barbadian used to smoke it.
Right.
So they used to smoke it. So I knew this thing existed in Liberia. But when I left Liberia in 2004, and I went back to Liberia for the first time in 2022, the country changed. The country changed, bro. And then now drugs is not an easy thing to eradicate if you don't have the funding. And it requires a lot of money, because it's not just about kicking doors. I think today they did another boss somewhere in, I don't know, that Raleigh area or something. They did another boss. So Amy Kuma is actually working with his hands tied behind him, but he's still doing a lot more than the previous administration did in 6 years in the short period that he's been there. And he doesn't even have the funding yet. He doesn't even have office supply, and he doesn't have vehicles. I believe the first few busts he did, they had to borrow people. I think representatives had to give them that pickup trucks and things like that to transport these items. But when you do the drug bust, one, you have to have the space where you can't arrest these people. But then also our brothers and sisters that are hooked on drugs, how are they being, clean? Is it Senator Delon? Yeah, Senator Delon is doing his best, right? He was sent them to the rehabilitation center. They graduate, but the question is, then what? After those people graduate from and are clean, is the worst thing to do is have them go back to fend for themselves.
Way of life. I agree with you, my brother.
You have to have a structure, a system in place that when they get clean, from there, you send them straight to some kind of trade school. Keep them busy, because we know what the saying goes, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. Right? And a lot of these people,
have nothing to do, your mind was straight to something.
You go back to make you forget. Some of them, when they get high, it makes them forget about their problems. Some of these people are not doing drugs because they want to be Zogo and stuff, but because some of them have given up hope. Not everybody don't have the same strength. I know some people will say, "Oh, but they don't have to do drugs." Kudos to you that are not doing drugs, because you have strong will.
Thank you.
Everybody not strong like you. Your weakness is somebody else's strength. So those people that fall prey to the drugs, we shouldn't just criticize them as being lazy. But when we should try to see if they can get clean and rehabilitated by creating some kind of program for them to go into, that when they come out, they can be able to make some money with their skill that they learn, and not be able to go back into the streets.
Actually, let me interject there. I watched one of Senator Dillon's rehab program graduation ceremony, and there was a guy there that gave a very beautiful testimony. This guy, he said he went to what is called school, Cotton. He graduated from Cotton, everything, smart, bright guy, and he fell short because of what a bad association. He went with the wrong peer group, and he ran to the wrong crowd, and that's how he got drifted away from living a normal life to doing drugs. So yeah, there's a plethora of reasons why people can stray away. Sometimes people follow background. Sometimes people are not, like you said, some people are not physically strong. They don't have that mental strength as others do. But having said that, let me give props to somebody who's doing something meaningful in the same regards, and we're giving props to our Liberian, because you never know how powerful this medium is. And, how many people are probably watching from here or in our country. Mr. Milton Bly, widely known as Budnicki. I was watching last week. He had a program where his students at his own rehab center. He runs a rehab center too, by the way. He has a school, big, very huge fence. And they graduated some student in an electrical program. We were talking about reintegrating people into society. And they had these children doing electrical work. And they built their own apartment and they ran the electrical outlets and they were testing it and they were doing good. So on that note, we always going to acknowledge people who are doing good. He's doing
That's good. Congratulations to
a
them.
very good job. He used to be known as General Putnick, but now Evangelist Milton Bly. He's doing a very, very good job trying to help our people. Like we said, anybody, for me, anyone who does well, I'm going to give them credit, I'm going to give them acknowledgement, and that's what we hope for. Having said that, we have a WhatsApp number for today, 704-606-3891. I already placed it on in the comment section, and the number is 704-606-3891. Anyone feel free to call on WhatsApp, and you can chime in and give your contribution. First, I'll let you to continue where you were.
Yeah, you know, someone G. Gwen John Smith said it right. Government farms will be the best. You see, create avenues for people to go and work. Create avenue. Even the sanitation department. Like we talk about the city, how trash is all over the place, right? Keep these people occupied. Let them clean up. Let them clean up. Even if it's that job to clean up, be that pay for that rehabilitation for rehab, and you take them out, they do work, stay. You clean, they go and clean up, you feed them, you clothe them, you put them, you take them back home until they get clean and stuff, or take them to farms. But you know, when we say government farm, government should be able to do this thing, but also the government should try to create an avenue for the private sector to come in and help these people too. Create an avenue for private sector to come in. That private companies, private rehab investors come into the country, where the government can probably subsidize some of the funding for these people that want to go to rehab. Like even in other countries like the US here, the Medicaid will pay private companies to take the adult with mental disability, and it will pay those people to take care of these people. Government don't want to take care of them themselves. Government want to just use the funding that they receive from taxpayers and pay this private company. So the government in Liberia should try to do the same thing. Create an environment for private investors to come in and say, you know what, I'm going to open up a 100-bedroom rehab center, you know, or I'm going to open up a 200-bedroom homeless shelter. What the government can say, no, we have this farm, we have rice there, we'll supply the food for the people while you run the shelter. Then other non-governmental organizations will donate to those people. And guess what? That's job creation for the people that will work at this rehab or homeless shelter, that have to clean the place, that have to serve the individuals that are living there, have to cook the meals and things like that. That's job creation right there. These things don't have to be on government. You see? So, I mean, there are so many creative things people can do in Liberia, but the government has to create a friendly environment for investors. Like you mentioned earlier, the three things government need to do if they want that country to get back to or get better than it used to be. Stable electricity, running water, and security. Because it's frustrating that every single time you hear about any major event happening in Liberia, guess what? It's in Montserrat County. Every major event. I think this the first time the county meeting outside of Montserrat, right? I think it's
I think what I've kind of noticed, they play some of the preliminaries there, and those who progress to the latter rounds, they come to Montserrat and play. But you know, you mentioned the things that are pertinent to the economy, like electricity, stable, and running water. The new boss of Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, my own friend Mo Ali, he kind of made some statements, and I think he put out a press release, and it was on one of the other social media platforms, and they kind of highlighted where he said, you know, people who are using government, as a paraphrase, people who are using the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation and not paying their bills, they will be disconnected with immediate effect. And that's fine for you to want to get funds out of the people, but kind of think about it. If the people are not making ends to meet, how can they come up with that? So there should be a way to remedy the situation first of the people being able to find funds to pay for the basic service. Somebody who cannot afford $2 US a day cannot pay a $400 upfront fee to continue the usage of our water. So there should be a line or drone, and it should be people to come and work with these people to make it to come to fruition. You cannot just come and say somebody should start. But I will have to reach out to him. He's a friend of mine, Mo Ali, and he can probably explain to us, in his own word, what he actually meant when he said they will have to disconnect people who are using the facility and the privileges of the Liberia Water Sewer Corporation, and they are not paying. They will be immediately cut off. I mean, cutting people off for not paying a bill is fine, but there should be a fine line where you balance it out so that the people can find the funds and better pay. Or what they do in America, sometimes you have a payment arrangement, something like that. But to look at somebody who cannot earn $5 US a day to say pay $400 on the spot, I just give them a hypothetical figure. I think it's unjust, and that's the difference between us. When we say these things, my brother, people think we say these things because we supported this government, some of us, but we try to be as objective as possible. There were people who supported the previous government; they could not say this. Everything was all rosy, everything was all fun. But no, we say when we see things are not going the right way, we will have our interjection. We interject and we call it out. And I think that's the best way to go. That's the best way to thrive.
I think Mo Ali was, even though he didn't say these words, but referring to those big businesses. I don't think we're referring to the ordinary Liberian, because the ordinary Liberian don't even have water running to the house. In the previous administration, you have all these representatives and big people. Even they didn't even have meter for LEC, but they had LEC current. A lot of them were getting free current, and Maryborough was beating on the low-hanging, the average Liberian. Those are the people she are going after. But the top brands in the country, none of them were touched for power theft. She will go in these little communities and abuse these people there in the name of being strict and cracking down power theft. But the big people up there that were actually these big businesses and government officials, she couldn't touch them. You heard the statement she made on Spoon when they talk about why isn't she taking the cars from government officials and stuff. She said she doesn't want to die. Pretty much, she doesn't want to die. That's why she's not going after them. You want me to? I'm not trying to lose my life. You see? So because now at GSA, you're not going after after the low, the ordinary Liberian. The only people that have cars from government in Liberia are the big people.
Right.
So she know that the type of barbaric gangster government that are running, she want to live. So she said it openly. She doesn't want to die. That's why she's not going after them. But when she was helping LEC, she would go in this community and whip people. When they said cleaner campaign, when she was with Morgan City Corporation, she would whip people in the street because these people are the ordinary Liberians, that the people that are supposed to be the most protected were the most abused, to show that Maryborough was tough. But that's not the case.
Let me take a comment. One of our people in the thread, Gwen Smith, says, "You can't earn money, don't use the resources." Yeah, Gwen, that's a very salient point. But what I was saying, create an enabling environment that people can thrive. I wasn't, like if the people can afford to make ends meet, they will, like I was earlier, I alluded, they can kind of like pace themselves in like a payment plan. People need water. You and I know it's a basic necessity. People must have water, But I will read the number again. I hope our people following can chime in, But Francis, I think so far we've discussed a lot of meaningful things, and I want our people to feel free to comment. If you comment, if it's worth digesting, we'll digest it and we'll go through it. You can continue from where you were. Let me grab our number and then read it out.
Yeah, amen. Our country is too small to be the way it is. especially with all of the resources we have. You know, you can't. Our people don't just. I don't know if our leaders don't have constructive jealousy. They all, every single one of them. Not one of our leaders, from lawmakers to ministers and directors and board members, not a single one of them don't travel every single year from Liberia. Why don't they have constructive jealousy? To say, oh, I went to the US, or I went to Ghana, or I went to Rwanda, I went to China, and I saw this. So let me go back to the Liberia. But I think what they've been saying to themselves is, if I do all these things, what am I going to steal for myself? Because all of this development costs money. So if I come here and build this road network, now the administration that come after me don't have to build roads. So now the money for road, they'll probably enjoy it. So instead of me doing that, I will enjoy it myself. That's not right. People don't care for legacy. That's why, right now, Liberia is in the best position she has ever been to have a strong foundation and system that will work for generations to come. Because President Baka, unless he want to be some of those African presidents that are so greedy for power that don't want to leave power, but if he just do the Nelson Mandela route, that plan to be a one-term president, that means you are not beholden to nobody.
Right.
You don't care to kiss anybody behind, to cozy up to anybody. You just come and disrupt the status quo and set things right. Because you know you're not ready for re-election.
Right.
So that's why he need to do. Put his foot down, change his employees like he changed clothes if they mess up. That's why I'm still surprised he has money captain still at LEC.
Yeah,
why he think we move George Weah and put him there? Because we said George Weah wasn't performing.
Right.
So you come in as president and you stick a money captain over there and you chasing after other tenure positions. Why can't you just leave those people and go after the people that can be moved? You see? So that's what I say President Money Captain got something on all these presidents that he's been serving under. Because he hasn't done anything. Maybe he got something on there.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that he's still maintaining that position. And the number against 704, 606, 389. When you struck a very meaningful point, when you said most times when a Liberian have a luxurious position, he has the funds. When you're given the opportunity to travel, the first thing you want to do is to come to the great United States of America. But I bet you not. When they come to see all the beautiful things, they don't take the good ideology back. They take the worst thing. For instance, you see how the people don't just litter on the street everywhere here. Like you go on the meaningful parts of the country here, you go on major streets, you see how organized things are. But our people would just litter. The same people in government, the top brass, they will come here, they will see all of those things, and they don't take it back home. They don't take it back home, like you said, maybe fear of being unable to misuse and abuse the right things that they ought to do. That probably could be a germane reason why. So because of those reasons, we suffer a lot. Our country will suffer a lot. If you can't see the right things when you travel and take it back to your country, we're going to be stuck.
Look at something as simple, right? All these roads they continue to talk about. I mean, I live in New Jersey, right? My parents live in Derby, PA, so I'm about 35 minutes drive away from them. I cross the bridge all the time. Every time I cross the bridge, I pay $5.
Yep.
Every time I cross the bridge, I pay $5. Yep. And that bridge, every day, over 1,000, 2,000 cars go over that bridge. And the trucks pay a lot more than $5.
Right.
The regular car, we pay $5. And then at least once a year, we'll see the sign on the bridge, your toll money at work. Right? So imagine if Liberia just say, hey, we look at Rawafi Highway, now that they are turning it into 4-lane, right? 2-lane going, 2-lane coming. When that's done, put a toll booth right over there. Then look at the road going towards bombing area there, right? Put a toll booth. Every county, the entrance or the exit to every county, put a toll booth. The money generated from those toll booths will maintain the roads.
Francis,
yeah.
2019, I visited Uganda, a country that got her independence 1962. We got our 1847.
Yeah.
Uganda, when I left the airport, Itimbe Airport, the people had toll booth right there. The same thing you just alluded to, generating funds. When I went to the bars in Kampala, the capital of Uganda, my brother, all the restaurants and bars and places that I went to, meaningful businesses, the people had manhole, the one that we use in America, where men go to the bathroom, stand up, and just pee through the decent something. All over. I was shocked. I like, man, and just imagine that's in 2019. I was in Liberia, February, for my sister's wedding, and then I was in Uganda the end of March 2019. And I'm like, are you serious? And I had the luxury of visiting Benin and Cameroon. Same thing. When I went to Yaoundé and Douala in Cameroon, people are moving, making progress.
And
What is wrong with Liberia? And to also interject, Cameroon has one of the oldest presidents, Paul Biya, men who have been president for over 30 years. But the people, they are thriving. It's all about mindset. I know we fought war. Somebody may say we fought war. Come on.
Man,
but
other people want to knock their chest and say, I did this. I brought this to Liberia.
Right.
But our lawmaker, our official, they don't care about knocking their chest and say, I did it. You know, they can say, oh, the people got they beg up for money. We got to get them money. I put the episode. You know how many people I got on scholarship? Yeah, who cares for how many people put on scholarship? The people want to make money and pay their children's school fee. They don't need you to pay scholarship. It's like a special training they have for all these lawmakers there to go to when they take office to say, oh, when they ask you about money, just say that people can consider in front of our houses, so we got to get them money. That's why we need more money so we can be able to pay people. That's a lot of that special training they can take.
Right.
But Liberia too small. If you put toll booth on our major highway and you open the country, man, the road good.
Generate money.
Probably where we only maintain the road and the toll paid by each of those cars, motorbikes, and everybody that go through those booths will maintain the road for years to come. You will start generating income from
mindset.
It. But
it's a mindset thing.
I bet you put toll booth to all the places. You not see the money because they will steal all the money. They'll steal everything. It'll be another income generation for them. Not for the country. It'll be another income generation for them. They don't say, oh, you don't know what happening here. That money not coming to you, not money to payroll. But that packet getting.
I have a very meaningful question to ask you. Considering we have this government right now led by President Boyka, and we all know he's going to do one term, what would you say to people who think that the like of Mr. Alexander Cummings, somebody who actually thrive in the international community in terms of business? What would you say, considering with naming all these things that entail somebody with a savvy business mind? What would you say? Somebody let me talk. Because I'm saying it because this my thought right now. Looking at this government, I'm like, after this government, can we try somebody who excel in business and who can bring a different dimension to our country? Because we've tried a professional athlete judge. We try ex-government official who are a radical. Charles Taylor was a radical government official. My dad worked for the General Service Agency when Charles Taylor was GSA director, and he was very radical. My dad always spoke about how radical he was. And then we tried a very educated Harvard graduate economist, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. After President Boyka, a man who we now refer to as a man with a very lengthy stay in government, vast experience, after his 6 years, can we try somebody with a savvy business mind like Mr. Alexander Cummings? Let's see where our country. If we're just looking, we're just forecasting tomorrow.
Yeah.
What you think going that route will look like?
Georgia was a mistake, but that's what happened when people are suffering. So when somebody, or the song, I think when R. Kelly that sang, when a woman fed up, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
That's what happened when the people are so sick and tired of being sick and tired. Anything will look shiny from it, and then they look at his football history, what he did, this, that, and the other. People thought that with his vast international experience, he will actually be able to use that to leverage investors from outside the country to come. But they didn't know he was incompetent. So that's the issue. But I think you are right. That's why I say Liberia is uniquely positioned to really thrive. After President Bouaka, nobody, I think, above the age of 65 should ever run that country. The other generation has failed Liberia miserably. They have failed Liberia. So I think it's time that people 65 and under run the country, because people have traveled. People see things, will see what's going on outside, and now with social media has made the whole world very small. You can click on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and you see other countries. You can search development or infrastructure, and you see lots of different things, right? So the older generation have failed us. Yes, we need a business person. People can say whatever they want to say about Donald Trump, right? But Donald Trump, he looked at government like a business. If you can benefit me, we will talk business. When I say me, meaning the country. And they got mad and said, oh, why he gave tax break to the wealthy. Well, what happened when people like Walmart, Amazon get tax break, Apple get tax break? What do? They open up warehouses. They open up other hundreds of stores. And all these stores, when they open them, what happened? Hundreds of thousands of people get jobs. And when hundreds of thousands of people are employed, they spend money. And when they spend money, the economy continues to grow. And all these people that they hire pay taxes to the government, and the government make a lot of money. So that's what needs to happen in Liberia. The government just need to create the atmosphere. Focus on three things: electricity, water, and security.
Right.
Because no investor want to come to invest in a country that is not stable. That when you bring an investment, somebody break into it, you can't record 911. Because 911 will not show up until maybe 2 days later. If there's a fire, the fire truck can get to you. If you call and say, oh, we ain't got fuel. So your hard-earned money that you invest should then burn out in flames. You see? So, yes, we need a business person to run that country. We need a capitalist president that focus on a capitalist society that focus on building the economy and business-minded. Company privatize LEC, privatize water and sewer. Everything. Privatize it. Look, here in New Jersey, we have a bunch of different companies that they got Atlantic City Electric, they got PSE&G that give out current, right?
Francis, my very learned that Councillor we said he said something very meaningful when George Weah took power. He said, for somebody like George Weah to excel as a president, we will need to, for him to excel as a president, we will need to have honest people to work with him in government, like for instance, the like of the finance minister that they had then, and those other people, they need to be honest for the country to thrive under him, because he, like we all saw, he was limited. So the people who he was putting into meaningful position, like finance minister, they were to be honest people. Then a government like his would have done better, but they were not honest with him. That's how they feel miserably. Because just imagine, you think if he were being advised by honest people, the things that they were doing when Samuel Tweeden was making that graph, they were putting money in, try to infuse money into the economy through money changer and all those kind of missteps. They wouldn't have done that because the people were not sincere to the point. But let me welcome our sis, Yasini Martin. But it says, I want to say thank you, and Always a pleasure having you on the show. We say wholeheartedly welcome to you.
It's good being here.
All right.
You
And I think you
commend me
joined.
sometimes, so I'm coming.
All right, and you joined at a very relevant time. We were just discussing the likelihood of having somebody who you supported in the past election, Mr. Cummings, as as president. Unfortunately, he didn't win, but hey, people who fail and come back, they tend to do even better. So I foresee even Joseph Parker was whipped by George Weah his first go around, but Ellen Johnson said she whipped George Weah his first go around. So defeat in life, hey, you take it like they say, take it like a man, and you keep moving. So what do you think the Liberian post should do to disabuse their mind of the fact of people like Mr. Cummings, people who strive to get to where they are in society and become who they are, to just look at them and be like, yo, this man, he look like an outsider. What we need 2029.
Y'all jumping all the way to 2029?
Yes, I want a country. If we said today, if the premise is laid well by this government, or they do what they ought to do, we have to start to create a picture in the mind of our people how they should think. Just a thought. You think you should create a thought today that the people should start to think differently in 2029? Trust me, before you blink, 2029 will be here. But if you don't want to go that route, I'll respect that. Let's start like this. What's on your mind? Because Francis started with what's on his mind. A lot of sticky issue unfolding right now in the country. What you want to tackle? Be it Jessica and Lucas, wherever you want to start. Go ahead.
I think it's a good place to start. I just say that to pull your leg. I think it's a good place to start. Here is why. As an educator, we'll always tell our children or our students, the future is now, because the future depends on what we do today. So we're talking about preparedness, right? How do we get to bring our people to the table to understand what at stake, to also understand what they're worth and what their vote is worth, to know their position and how to also position themselves and use the power that's available to them to benefit them. I think I sum this into preparedness. All right. So yes, we need to have this conversation. In my lifetime, I spent all my adult life here, by the way. Went to school, grad school, went back to grad school. I work in the banking system. I now in education. I changed career about 3 times. And I've been blessed just living in this people country, because this country took me in after the first war. This is, I tell people, and I'm going to bring this. And I tell my American children who take everything for granted, America is the greatest nation on earth. And here is why. And people can say America not heaven. America is not heaven, but it's the next thing to heaven. If there is, here is why. This is and she has a lot of flaws. Okay, she's totally imperfect. She's a work in process. Everything in America is to the extreme. You have to decide what path you want to be on. You have to find your own balance. You want to be bad, the bad have no balance. You can be to the extreme. You want to be good, you can be good. This is the only country where you can be born in a project that you man can afford to eat, and your man can be on drugs, that you can become millionaire based on your talent if you will put in the time. Be it football, basketball, soccer, soccer, anything. Huh?
Even lacrosse.
Lacrosse, anything, if you can design, whatever you're blessed with, that you can become anything you want to be. This is the only country that you can come from where your father coming from Africa, not even meeting him, not knowing him, from a single motherhood, and you can be president with different complexion. Different in Liberia that we talk about, a small country where the first thing you say hello, they say, what family you come from? Like my name is Martin, right?
Right.
When and I'm not talking about myself, I'm coming to where we are. Where we are, where we are. And when I have friends who are new, growing up, like our early 20s, college year, and the parents were always asking, which Martin are you? Are you from upriver? Me growing up in Liberia, and the thought of when people say in Liberia country, I mean you are illiterate, you are ignorant, you are savage, whatever you want to put it. And I'm not, people say you're like to bring. For me, for us to, I teach history, so I start with the children this way. Usually, in the beginning of my class, I would say the essence of learning history is not to make you bitter, but to make you better, because you get to take or walk into the past where you people have gone, or where you people have also done and experienced, and you come to today where we enter those who changed the world the way we are, and then you have a responsibility to shape a nation and leave it for your children the way you want it, right? So they were asking me, which Martin are you? And first, it was annoying to me, right? And I would say, it's not Martin that you know. So today, also you were on the show, we're talking about meritocracy. So preparedness, how do we bring our people where we are? First, education is paramount. Education is we talk about education, meaning giving information, having enough information to process and make concrete decision. Okay, what I've learned over the years, the last 8-9 years, dealing directly with Liberians on the ground, okay, going back and forth from community to community, all right, and working here in my community. Since I've been in this country, I was president for the community, I was vice president. I've done like education chair, do SAT free workshop and all of that, right? We're very deceitful. All right. We who are informed, who's supposed to be more nationalistic, who's supposed to teach our people the new way, how other nations have done it, we stay right here and we mislead them. Remember the last round, Elston, the UP people went to Maryland, the Grand Judy, let's just say the Southeast. And I have some of the video, maybe I'll send it to you sometime.
Okay.
Where they were saying, George, we are then lie on Mr. Cummings. Mr. Cummings were not gay, that George, we are who gay. They're the one who went out and said Mr. Cummings were gay. I have screenshot of UP, George Lobo, many of them calling him that. But in the last round, when they needed Southeast vote, they said it was not Mr. Cummings, it was a lie. Those are recorded. That's why I love the digital age. All right. So this is the time that we prepare. I heard my brother say nobody over 65 should rule. Your problem had not been age. Your problem had been having the know-how, having the vision, being able to transact, transition, and transform has been the problem. Josh, we were young. Josh, we and I around the same age.
Sure, was a mistake.
No, he was not. He was not. George Weah is what Liberia made of him. Okay? George Weah George Weah is a creation of Liberia. It's a victim of all of us. Here is why.
Go ahead.
And I always say that because I have to speak as a first person. When I was younger, my aunt, who was a cooper, could take her children to Las Palmas for the summer. Well, her husband working in government. Then maybe by the fall, take her children to America to come shopping. But my parents could not afford to get it, and they work hard. They work hard, and my parents also sold her business. We could not, because they have to take it to almost everybody. We didn't have enough. We did not have enough.
Very well.
Okay. I also remember during the rainy season, the road to Nema County and to the southeast, this is the 70s, this is the 60s, they would be blocked. But all the big people were living in mansions. Why we still go, not to our houses though, to the dump bar, where they can call dump site, to poop, why the pig chase us. And let's bring this to, let's bring it home. Liberians here and say the Guangalundian who came to Morovia were drinking out of Comogue because they were country. And know what I tell them? Shame on your mind and pardon. Guess what? They were in leadership. They failed to bring the nation. The nation is not just a place, it's people. Okay? Right. When you see the generation today, that is the future of Liberia. Those who are in the Pempe, okay? Those who are breaking down homes, those who are destroying the firebomb, that is the future.
How does this relate to George Weah, though? I mean,
okay, you know, but here's why we how you call it? The George Weah get the required education or primary education that he needed? Nope. Okay, he learned the loop of the nation. All right. Confucius said the integrity, the strength of the nation depends on the integrity of the home. All right. We learn at an early age, it could be like, could not be like Josh Weah were taken advantage or were molested. That's what we learn. That is the story. And I say allegedly. All right. And besides, my 17-year-old can't articulate and look at the children, go in the marketplaces in Liberia. I encounter a child, maybe 10, 11-year-old, plenty of them, who don't know their ages, who don't know how to read and write. All right.
That is most systemic.
Yes.
Right? That is more systemic.
So you have not been able to build a system that will shape the nation, that will protect the children. So Josh, we are learned to survive. All right. And people see themselves in their leader. Where Josh Weah is what not 90, but majority of Liberia is. So you can't say it was a mistake.
No, okay, let me come in for a little bit.
Let me just land and you can come in.
Right.
If you say Josh Weah is a mistake, then majority of those children in the street that we fail to educate, that we fail to structure, that we fail to protect, that we failed, okay, to give them, set the moral tune for them, then you are saying they are all mistake. For instance, the one we call Zogos. The Zogos are the remnant of the war. That is the residual effect of the war that we have failed. Yes. After 34 years, okay, right. And we still don't.
Let me allow Francis. Yasini, let me hold you there. Let Francis counter you, okay?
Yes, so go ahead. That's a false equivalent to make between George Weah, lack of education, and his behavior to that of the Zogos or the disadvantaged youth. That's a false equivalent. Let me just put it right there. George Weah did not. His lack of education did not come because he couldn't afford to go to school or his parents couldn't afford to send him. George Weah was a soccer star in Liberia before he even went to Tonian. He was the warehouse when he left Liberia and went to Tonian. George Weah, his talent, his God-given talent, took him outside of Liberia before even the first gunshot was fired. George Weah lived in Cameroon. He went to France. He went to Italy. He played in the best league, rubbed shoulders with the best of the best, the greatest out there in soccer. He associated with world leaders and influential people. Education is not only about learning how to get a college degree and stuff like that. Education sometimes comes from what you see, the environment you find yourself in. Because I can tell you, some of our people that did not even come to the city, their level of common sense they have is greater than some of our lawmakers. So to say George Weah was disadvantaged or is a product of the country, yeah, he's a product of the country because he was born into the but his deficiency is not because he did not graduate high school. George Weah, there are plenty of people in these United States that didn't graduate high school, but they got GED. They went back after they have passed the school age and got a GED. They were able to go into college and get degrees, or even go into trade and learn other things and become productive citizens, become leaders of companies and things like that. So George Weah not graduating high school had nothing to do with his incompetence. George Weah was just a terrible leader. He did not have any leadership qualities. Government is not just for somebody who you love. It's for somebody who's able to lead. And George Weah lacked leadership. That's the problem. Still, legend mentioned about, if the things that Samuel Twelve were doing, giving money, the money change up. Let me tell you something. A leader don't have to know everything, but you have to have common sense. And if you have your mind in the right place, you question a lot of things. But George Weah was all he wanted. I'm not saying he didn't come to the presidency wanting to do anything. No. But he was misguided. Right? Look at some of the things that people can brag about now. It's a beautiful park in PHP. But was it necessary over road construction to the southeast? But he went on the campaign trail and told the Southeasterner it's the 6 months of rain. The reason why he can't build the road. He's on tape saying that. But he failed to realize that dry season and rain season every year. And he was there for 6 years. So he has 6 opportunities, 6 dry seasons to build that road, but he did not do it. He focused on building soccer field in West Point, focused on turning the airfield into Invisible Sport Park. All these things are beautiful, right? But were they necessary? Liberia need a president or a leader that will do what's necessary for the people.
Let me come in here.
Luxury is not what we are looking for. So for her to say,
Esther, can I say something before you come in, sir?
Yeah, you're gonna counter. Listen, I want Yasini to counter you. I like the back and forth. Everybody having the luxury of sharing his view and defending his position. And this is one thing I'm going to leave, since I come from a sports background. We all have our strengths. So whenever George Weah retired from soccer, he firstly did what I wanted him to do. My vision for him when he was leaving soccer, I envisaged him going into sports and helping out Liberia greatly, because when he was playing, he was very helpful. He took Lone Star to different places. There are people here in America, because
just to put it out there, legend, under his leadership, Lone Star ranking went down.
No. Allow me to have this one, Francis. So allow me to have this one. I agree with you. So I'm discussing post retirement, post soccer career. So he went into the LFA. He tried to put himself out there for the race. I think he was whipped by the very, I stand to be corrected, but my sports knowledge kind of flow in my head. I think he was whipped by the very Eden Snow. Snow whipped him. And then I think what he should have done, gone back and try to be, give himself a second shot at the Liberia Football Association, but he didn't do that. Then he went into the race of the horse. Fortunately for him, he won a seat at the Senate, and he became a senator. And then he saw himself when the people there, because 2006, I always tell this story. I was physically there covering the program that the people petitioned George Weah. It was held at Maria City Corporation, where the City Hall, what we call City Hall. I was there that day when the people petitioned him to be president 2006. It looked like today to me. And that's how he went the route of presidency. But in my purview, I think that was the wrong route. I think he should have stayed in his discipline, sports. A lot of people say, but how do you determine the man? Come on. By virtue of the fact that a very prominent and a likable person had a silver platter, they gifted him presidency, and he tried to go back for a second term. They denied him. It tells you that he didn't perform. If he had performed, obviously the people who are re-elected him a second term, but he underperformed so poorly. That's why they didn't let him get it. But you see, I'll let you to take it from. I just want to lay that premise that I would prefer seeing him go in the sports route versus the political route. But here we are today.
So let me make my point. Maybe I was not clear. Okay, I didn't say Joshua were in Liberia. Okay, I didn't say like Joshua were in Liberia during the war. Joshua were not in Liberia in the war. Joshua left us in Liberia before the war came. I know that. I think I first came home and I said, the strength of the nation depends on the integrity of the home. All right, there must be structure. One thing that I learned, and learn this, the Southeast Asian, especially the South and Eastern Asian, the reason that education to them is like a must is between their God and intellectuals. That is the balance. That's the top of the caste system, up top of the pyramid. Then before even the government is under, before the merchants are under, right? So for you to change that, the stuff, the common and all of that, for them to reach Nirvana, I think that's what you call, you have to be up here. All right. So number one, everybody want their next life to be better. All right. Me and my mom were just in the car. We're talking about when I was growing up, things that were normal and was not normal. I said to us, okay, people see themselves in a leader. People elect leaders based on three things. Either they like you, they see themselves in you. Either they fear you, or they think you will change their life. All right. Everyone that we call so-called educated, when I speak of education, I'm not talking about somebody having a degree. Okay. In the African culture, now everybody must have a degree. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about my particular culture. People didn't go to school. My grandfather was the first justice of the peace. But when he made a judgment, he thought about it hard and strong before he even made the decision. All right. And he led his town, his home, his district, his clan, what he met, his fellow men respected him to date. All right. So the point I'm making is Josh Weah is the product of his nation. You see, we're talking about classroom education because where you're coming in, there are categories of learning style or ability and inability. All right. And there are layers of learning. That's why in those who are in developed world, you know how back when they say the main door, I was talking to my husband today about some of my children. Some need a little more time. Not that they're not smart. All right. Some of them just need maybe another 30 minutes to get A's. All right. They all take the same test, but you have to assess them. I listened to George Weah interview that he had with the former reporter from CNN. George Weah supposed to have an MBA, and they were asking, I think they took that tape down, they edited it because initially they did it and they posted it was live. When they asked George Weah about the economy, he said he's not an economist. Okay, they asking about planning. He said he was talking Miguel and all of that. George Weah has MBA. George Weah had inkling. In fact, have enough knowledge on finance, strategic management, planning, budgeting. You think about it. The whole MBA is the cream de la cream of business school. You should have everything. All right. That what those who go and do MBA, they also have to do business law, interstate law, because if something, especially after the dot-com busted in the rest of the world into the global market, you must understand, because the people that work for you, if they flunk or they defraud, you will also be held accountable. Joshua could not answer any of those questions. All right. And I could see if you test Joshua, you will also know something is not cognitively right with him. All right. But my point is, Liberian people saw themselves in Joshua, and they still do, whether we want to accept it or not. All right. And now whether he played for all of that. Let me tell you something. 2017, when I supported Pape Boaka, I told the Liberian people, I will bring the tape here. Instead, it's on YouTube. I said to them, you have decided this is not a football game, that 90 minutes. All right. If you elect Boaka, the ship is going to sink. I know Boaka personally. Personally, I said the ship is going to sink. Okay? Or, in fact, I use the analogy of the plane. I say, with George Weah, it is a plane. It will crash in my Everest. There will be no survivor. That's how bad it will be. Okay? Boaka will be like a ship. Or even if it's a plane, it will drop in the water. People will use life jacket to survive, but we know it's still going to crash regardless, right? So if you say to me, how much education George Weah got? Well, one training George Weah got. George Weah grandma was struggling. You know what? George Weah grandmother and my aunt used to sell in the market in Erepi in Yekepa before he even came to Monrovia. All right? George Weah grandma used to sell for him to go to school. You will say that's a common place in Liberia. Going to a government in Liberia is the place where everybody get rich. So you cannot tell me George Weah was a mistake. Then look at the young people in the street. Are there mistakes?
Yes. So when I say George Weah was a mistake, I stand by it because you already proved my point. Education, like we both agree, is not only about going to college and getting a degree. You also become educated through experience, the environment you find yourself in. There are people in the U.S. that did not graduate that came from Liberia.
So what if you are delayed? So what if you are delayed?
We are not going to speak about the anomaly. We are not going to speak about the minority.
It's not a life, though.
No. When we speak,
this
we speak
is not anomaly.
We speak in generalities.
That we are in.
We have to speak in generalities. We're not going to look.
Let him Yasuni that you
When was the last time you were in Liberia?
Let January. But let me just make my point. We're not going. We speak in generalities when we speak. Why it's true that there are people. What you call? There are left-handed people, but most of the firearms they make are for right-handed people. Why can't they say because there are a few left-handed people, so that make equal amount of firearm for left-handed and right-handed? So they go with the majority. So generally, people are right-handed, so they make right-handed firearms the most. So people learn to experience.
That is a unique case, though.
No. Let me make my point. No, let me make my point. Because you're trying to bring the minority in. That's how I have to go there. I'm speaking in general. Go ahead. People learn through experience, not just through classroom. That's why even in the great United States, sometimes they say go and do practical, right? Even though you learn the theoretical part of things, but the practical is also more important. So with George, we are not going to high school. Doesn't still, I mean, as a matter of fact, he should have more intelligence than most people that even graduated from college, went to high school, graduated from college because of his outside experience, the people and the environment he found himself in. But he went to Liberia. He went to Liberia. Those boys in Liberia, the disadvantaged youth, they have no choice. The situation they find themselves in, they have no choice because the environment is created by the government that put them in there. Government is not creating opportunities for people to have jobs. That's why we elect people. So the mistake our Liberian people made, when I say George Weah was a mistake, the fact that they look at him and say, oh, we love George Weah, he's this football icon, and when he campaigned, he said it. I know people. I've been to Europe, all over the world. I know people. I will bring investment to the country. All the people that play football with, soccer with, this, that, and the other. And the Liberian people bought into that lie. They didn't know that you don't necessarily have to, all these things are not correlated, not because you went to Europe, so you can actually bring investment. They actually believe him. The fact that they believe him and voted him and elected him, that was the mistake. So I stand by it. George Weah was a mistake because he had no business being president of Liberia. He had no leadership quality. Under his regime, Lunster, George Weah is called King George. The only soccer player on the competitor to be called King. But Lunster ranking dropped terribly under George Weah, who I call him the most selfish soccer player in the world, which is a good thing because when he won his title, nobody won anything in the world. That's how special he was when he played football. Nobody won, even BBC.
1995.
Gave him title that year.
World best, yeah. Africa best.
Everybody gave him title. Even people that did not give titles, they gave him title that year. Everybody gave it to George Weah that year. But becoming president, what's his legacy? People should say, you know what? George Weah did not build roads. He did not improve the healthcare system. He did not improve education. But Lone Star, yes, you can see that George Weah was a soccer player. But they were the worst in Africa under a president that was one time war best. He was a mistake. There's nothing else I can change that.
I want to say something very important. Before Ceci Assini, because she's about to take it from there, before she come in, I want to say something very important. There was a press conference held by George Weah's Minister of Youth and Sports, former Lone Star player, D. Zoga Wilson, and he openly confessed that the funds that was allocated for the youth that goes to the Ministry of Youth and Sports was mismanaged. You use it for something else. I thought that was a huge slap to the face, considering we were confronted by a lot of Zogo's problem. People call them Zogo, I call them disadvantaged youth. They needed that money. It was in the tune of $2 million. It was mismanaged. They use it, but the intended purpose was not it was used for. So I think sports and youth as a whole did not do very well under that government because, I mean, come on, we saw it with the national team. The national team was nowhere with that government. But just since Justin, go ahead and counter him. That's what the show is all about, an exchange. Let's keep the exchange going.
Like he stands by what he said. I stand by what I say. But let me say this to you. I have lived in this town for more than 3 decades. I've seen people come and live in this town. They have not changed. They're in America, but still live in Liberia. The mindset has not changed. Okay. And we talk about leadership, it's about what? Transaction, transition, and transformation. All right. And I'm saying, based on my experience, I have traveled all the way going into the Southeast, starting back, going to like Liberian Boulder Way, Guinea, Ivory Coast, and back. Okay. I go to Liberia. In fact, last year I went to Liberia 4 times. That's literally like every quarter. For the last 8 years, I traveled some of the biggest counties, most populated counties. I'm saying to you, okay, you are talking about education. And education starts from the home, structure of the home, behavior, okay, nurture, nature, and all the processes that comes along. Okay. George Weah went to Europe. I said those things that you're saying. He saw the courtyards. He saw the skyscrapers. He saw how other people live. He mingled with other footballers. He came here. Denzel Washington and other people wanted to hang out with him.
He wanted Arthur Ashe Award. Let me put that out there. Exactly. Here in America.
So to come and say because he traveled there, all right, that means because he was exposed that he was supposed to be a change. I went into, in fact, George Weah, my mother called George Weah her son during the camping. My mom used to come here. I would go in my attic and hide, and she would not find me because I didn't want to deal with that. I'm not here trying to support George Weah. I'm telling you, whether George Weah left, your personality, most children, your personality is formed before you get to a teenage year. Okay. George, we don't know a struggle. I don't. But I know we're part of our environment. I know George Weah is where almost 70% of the Liberian children are. They see themselves in him. All right. And it got to a point where the Liberians that he was leading were afraid of him. Most Liberian people who voted in the last election, number one, they didn't want to take a risk to make mistake to bring George Weah back. They were afraid of him. People could not even talk. Your own family could not talk because they thought people were listening to him. All right? Up interior. George Weah was not a mistake. George Weah was a process, a working process that was supposed to come to pass. And he did. Because we set the tune. We got Chancellor Kimi, who are very, out there. Everybody said, give Josh, give Chancellor, he's educated, he's well-spoken, he's been into government from GSC or GSC, wherever he was at, okay? And you gave him power. And he abused the people, and he stole, he looted the nation. In fact, if you go to the UN panel of experts, his description that they talk about, you will be like, that is him, okay? Just a psychological profile. You got the progressive, the Dr. Amos Sawyer then came, the ship then disappeared, the ball houses. Gar Jones, who was the former finance minister, had $1 million building in what do you call it, Potomac River in Maryland. All right. So the Liberian people, the masses have watched them. Liberian, and I'm telling you, it may be a mistake to you, because for you, you are intelligent, you may be able to adapt in your environment, or what do you call it, integrate and keep what is good about your culture. Some people have not integrated. Okay, some people have refused to learn, but that is majority of Liberia. George Weah is majority of Liberia. Okay, I'm talking in
let's graduate
character.
Yes, Sunni. Let's graduate from Josh Weah, and we just had to bring that up so that people who were unrealistic during his tenure, his presidency, and they saw nothing wrong with government, is totally different this time around from what we are doing. Let's get to our sis Jessica and Lucas. Yeah, what's your take? Well, my brother Francis already chimed in on that. What's your take with that whole verdict of non guilty?
A lady named Dada sent out a change.org what do you call it, for us to what the name of the thing, add our voices, a petition to add our voices. I think I've spoken on this.
I will be doing that.
This is what I've done. I have a in the state of Georgia, in the what do you call it, the U.S. Congress, I do have a resolution in my honor for the work that I've done in my community here and internationally so far. Speak for women is tiring, but we can't give up. I've had opportunities from the onset to talk to Jessica's mom all throughout this month, this process that is going on. All right, also in the chat room with them. When people said this was going to happen, I didn't believe it. I did not believe it. I think this is a travesty of justice in all area. They said there was a journalist a journalist wrote his eyewitness report. I went under there and I challenged him today. He was supposed to come on the show. One of the journalists reached out to him to come on the show earlier. He didn't come. Maybe he will come.
Somebody who I know, Peter Tube.
Yeah.
So his name is Peter Tube.
Yeah, according to him, the Jessica parents did not produce the weapon, the knife. It was not within Jessica jurisdiction to
they were
produce.
Not admissible in court.
Yeah. Even if she should not have had it, okay? It should, in this case, it's a capital crime, okay? Right. It was an attempted murder, and a murder, if they could prove that the baby was aborted without the mother consent, okay? Number one, he's not a medical practitioner to be giving as administering medication. That's another problem right there, all right? And not only that, this woman from January had been alarming all over the place, blowing the alarm, telling the whole world, the Liberian government, these people have been offering money. The money is coming from America, have been sent here. They offer me 10,000. They came back and offered me 20,000. Okay, we have sat here. Anywhere where there a rule of law, where the justice system work at least 60%, that people are not just blatant in human rights abuse, okay? The government would have stepped in and said, they all had a mistrial, remove the judge, and retry this case, all right? It did not happen, all right? And they say, oh, they find him not guilty. Okay, they acquitted him. Another thing is, as a U.S. citizen, all right, Mr. whatever his name is, needed to be acquitted. Anything outside of being acquitted, he was going to be re-prosecuted when he came to America, because Americans stand up to when the citizens commit crimes in other countries because it makes them look bad. So he needed that. So that's why the people are putting money together. So now we who are in the diaspora have the responsibility, okay, to go through the justice system in America, because number one, they sat in America in the churches and the family and collected money to influence decision, to abuse human rights. They were intentional, and he also was intentional in that. And I'm also calling on the Liberian government, all right? You know what's really sad? A man called because he had a hunch and said, our framework document for our political party, the man who had it, who paid people to craft it, we think he touched it, he edited it. What do you call it? The prosecutor, the chief prosecutor in the state were involved. Right away, they issue arrest. He was not allowed to leave. In fact, they were asking him to surrender his passport. This is a man who got millions of dollars investment. He's not a flight rate. Who is known around the world, who has a what do you call it? An account on Wall Street, or withholding on Wall Street. All right. This is a man who sits on billions of dollars worth of board. And you say he can't leave the country to see his mother. You want us to, in fact, to put him in jail. All right. But you get a man who left his country. And you know what I think? I think this is not this man's first time.
That means a predator.
Yeah, people like that, they have a tendency or repeated offense. People like someone like him. I'm sure he done something like that before. When you listen to what people have to say about him in Liberia, look at him. You came on a different something, and then you integrate it into our society and start to do something completely different. So yeah, there has to be a partner of his. My friend says you heard what Yasini had to say.
Yeah, no, I can't agree with her.
I think that is the place where she here. I agree because
we disagree on a whole lot of things, but I mean, she nailed it on the head, and we talk about it
when it comes to our women. We should not be beginning playing with that. Let's be honest.
No, not just to our women, right? Our country as a whole. You can have open season on Liberians for foreign national. It's not even about somebody coming and trying to murder a Liberian citizen. It's about foreign national saying that, you know what? The things I can do in China as a Chinese man, I will go to Liberia and do it.
Yep.
Because the government officials just want the money for themselves. So if it's something that can bring hundreds of millions of dollars to the Liberian economy, let me just give the government officials $25 million, and I will exploit the country for the next 50 years. Things that will not be allowed in other countries. Liberia is open to it. So long the people, the powers that be, will benefit. They don't care about that. Right. That's why we need a leader that have love for country. You know, people. I don't even. What happened to that girl? It's terrible. And I told you at the beginning of the show, if one of those boys had beat Luca and hurt him, they were going to be tried and sent to jail. They were going to be sent to jail. But they look at Lucas and say, "Thank you for what you did. This is what our people are worth to us." But I still thank God. You know, sometimes they say, Bible says, you don't know what brings the cover of blow county. That the representative from Bon County that took it to the house and said, call all the lawyers involved in the judge, let them come and testify. I hope it doesn't just be a floor show. You know how I put on the show up and then they have been doing so many investigations and no outcome. I hope something come out of it and they make an example.
That's Mayma team.
Right.
She's been on this platform before. She's we're gonna she's a sister.
Hopefully,
we work with her in the back. We're gonna
I hope
add our
something comes out of it. You know, we're in somebody disbarred. People lose their license because the audio of them negotiating, the audio has been played all over social media of them negotiating Pay me. The other guy said, oh, you know what? Let's just tell them that this is the maximum for this kind of crime. So it's 10,000. But you know, they negotiate that type of thing like a backdoor drug deal. They're doing. All of them should be disbarred. All of them that were involved in that particular thing should be disbarred. It's ridiculous, man. And look at the girl that she's traumatized.
Yeah, she is. She's scarred for life. And it's unfortunate, you know. That's why we should never stop. We should never slow down in propagating these things so that our people can be enlightened. Because I was fortunate to call on our sis here today, Yasini's show, and I kind of like highlighted something similarly. I was like, we take these social media outlets very lightly, but they shouldn't be taken lightly, because the people who are not opportune to speak for themselves when they listen to all in Magibi, Maryland, Nimba, Krambasa, Lofa, when they listen to you speaking like this and they can, you know, understand what you're saying, they feel, you know, they feel like somebody share in their feelings. We are empathetic towards them because they can't say these things, but we are able to say these things. Because take for instance, since Yesini don't need Liberian government to thrive, I definitely don't need the Liberian government to thrive, because I have so many plethora of friends in this government right now that I can call and say, oh, my man, I want to go somewhere, but I don't care little to nothing about if our country are not going on a rough patch, I wouldn't have even you know, headed this direction. I always love sports my entire life. All you see from morning to night are talking sports, but because we need to speak out, that's why somehow we've occupied this space. My entire journalism practice in Liberia, on radio and TV. I have show on radio. I was doing TV presentation for all the Lone Star game on sometimes 1 or 2 TV stations, and it was all sports, no politics. But we need to step in and we need to speak for our people, because it is unfortunate women getting treated like that. When you think someone like myself, who have all sisters, you see, my dad was like rushing. As soon as he had one boy, he decided to have 0 boys after. 0 boys after. I'm the only one. I have all sisters preceding me. All the other people can have them my sister. So when I see a young lady like that, when I look at her, I just see my sisters through her. So you can't be taciturn. You can be quiet on this thing. We will speak until we can speak no more. You know. So I'll let you the lady on this platform. You go ahead.
So let me say, let me say this to you. The point you just made, and like you see what on the radio in Liberia, you know, when we started, and I tell people, and I would brag a little bit, because you know what, this is my history. In 2015, 2017, I had the biggest platform. The Lobo, all of these people were on this platform. In fact, this is the platform that raised the money for Henry Costa. This is the platform that brought what's his name, Martin Colley, to the face of everybody's household. Okay, the Fatiga, all of us used to be, I mean, they had a radio show, but we would come together on the weekend and host people and just amplify them. When we started casting in Nimba and, you know, the surrounding area, Bonkani, you know, Basser, the people will come in and say, you don't question your leader, you know, because that's where the culture dictates, right? As we went on, and I would take my time. At first, I would really go for them. And then somebody come and says, yeah, just take your time, speak to them. Why is I work in other places? Because that's where they know. Between our culture, between our religion, it gives no power to the everyday person. When your imam say or your pastor say, the Lord has spoken. When your man then say, your pa then say, this is our culture, the word that has spoken. That's it. All right. We begin to educate people and telling their culture is man-made. And send an example. If you walk in my house, all my kids, when they walk in the house, the shoes stay to the door. When my children grow up, they will decide where they want. That had the culture, because I learned it from my mother. Okay. When they come tomorrow, some people, you go into their house, they got sacked to the door, you wear the sack, you walk in. That their culture that they created. So it's a belief system that is made by a group of people, a group of community, or a society for that matter. So that's how we started. When I went to Secretary, months later, people came to see the lady that was talking. The young people would come and gather for me to talk to them. They knew me. I didn't know them. Okay. So using where we use, people call all throughout the night, says, yeah, what's happening? Because you can get the information before we get it. We can come listen to you while we hear from you. All right. So whether we believe it or not, and as much as we agree and disagree, this is healthy for us, because I don't see through which eyes that you see. You see things differently, especially me being a female, being out of the country for so long, or being in and out of the country. I see things differently. And from dealing with different segments with kids, different learning style, ability, disability, challenges. You got some of the smartest, brightest kids that have bad habits. Okay. You have some kids that don't study at all. They come, whether you like it or not, they're going to have 100. And if there's a child sitting there that's struggling, I will point you all the time, they're humble, they're this and that. They're different. That child not dull, or that child not crazy. They just maybe bored, or they have a different learning style. Maybe they're delayed in processing a year after. Okay. So, and so I see things differently sometimes, like the everyday person. And this is where I am at this stage in my life. But I'm saying to you, never, like I told a young lady the other day, I may say you're wrong. You may think I'm wrong. Okay. But continue to speak until we get it right. Until somebody answer the call. But on this call, all of us with Jessica, because you know what, and I always told people this in the last 7 years. First, we started with a little girl named Odell Sherman. Then after Odell Sherman, it was in fact, we started with Mamusu. Mamusu had just turned 12. She was raped and murdered. That was the first challenge of we are government, and we talk because we are on his what to do. He said we will protect our women, we will empower our people, and we will deliver justice. He had 5 or 16 on his flyer, okay, and we pleaded for him to take on, to set the tune. He never did. Then he came to Odell Sherman. I can't name everybody. Then he came to Vivian Red, Jackie Anderson. Jackie Anderson happened to be the Anderson man who coached Wea, who was like a father to Wea. His daughter was murdered in broad daylight in the community and left there. And the grandchild was not from Hawa, all on the platform. I know it will come out tomorrow. Okay. We had to come together, but Hawa had to get on the plane to go to Liberia to find that child. That child was in a drug house. That baby, 6-month-old babies. The police did nothing. The police never went back to visit her mother. Okay. And whenever they got in the street to protest, 3 or 4 people would be out there. They would beat them and put in jail. We never knew we have the little girl named Linda Sherman. I'm just jumping ahead. The last big case that we are, all of them lives are important.
It's meaningful. People have to know these things. Go for it.
Yeah. Princess Cooper. All of y'all heard about Princess Cooper. Even the Nigerians pick it up.
Of course.
They told us she died from TB, tuberculosis. Okay? But all the people who messed with her, none of them, even the husband, what she was living with. The one boy who knew the story was talking about it, they said he raped somebody, they put him in jail. He was in jail until we were just about to leave. Okay? So the point I'm making to you is, I have family in Liberia, I have nieces and nephews. Jessica could be my niece.
Yeah.
Jessica could be my cousin. Jessica could be my sister, could be my child. She's 21 years old. I have a 37-year-old. I have a 30-year-old. I have a 23-year-old that's older than Jessica. All right? I can tell you for free, I was born differently. In my word, that man would be dead. No disrespect. I'm just telling you. That's the kind of person I am. Anybody who saw me doing the war, the only thing that stopped me from taking gun, my mom said if I did, she would kill herself. When they said those soldiers were coming to Greystone compound, I was that little girl who walked out and told all the people from West Point, and when the people were brought out, I brought out knives. I said, I'll cut down the reefs. They will kill us, but we kill somebody before they go. I'm that person. Maybe, the people used to say, I'm a minor gear girl, but I'm cool. And I always told people in high school, I would tell people, I love who my mom said my dad is. I didn't take it as how you call it though. But if my mother steps somewhere and I got some of these genes, I love it.
Right.
So it just that people start talking because that's the way. But I think it's the gear inside of me or the crying inside of me. But I love it. I never stop. So all of us need to stand up for Jessica. That dude,
yes,
that was not justice. And people say, oh, he being acquitted. Somebody told me, that's not the way the law works. Yes, that's the way the law works. Law are based on precedents, culture, and tradition.
right,
And they're codified.
right.
And law can also be amended. That's what we have judicial reform.
Right.
All right. So
Right.
if they may intentionally undermine the law, okay, those
Right.
judges or the judge, the lawyers, all of them need to be investigated, prosecuted. If those things that they're saying they're true, I'm not saying just fire them, disbar them, punish them. Don't just let them walk. Let them go to jail.
No.
Because
Absolutely.
they are the reason that Liberia is the way Liberia is. I don't care if that's my mother or that's my father. That's how I see it.
They should be recommended. Yep. So Francis, I would like the two of you take turns since Yasina just concluded on that point. I'll let you to go first. Put it in a nutshell and just give it to us, and then make your concluding statement. Time is fast spent. It's already past 2 hours since we've been here, and then we'll wrap this up with Sis Yasini, and then we'll call it a night. Very spirited show, by the way. You all came through, and I like that we are ending on this note, because we could not end on a better note than this one. Go ahead, Francis.
Yeah, I mean, for me, every time I appear on these platforms and we talk Liberia, we go back and forth, we agree, we disagree. At the end, one thing I want my brothers and sisters to take from it is, whenever an election is over, we should all become one people and hold the current government feet to the fire, because their success is our success. Their failure is our failure. We should not be hoping that the government failed because we want to tell the other people how wrong they were or how right we are. Or we were how right we were, that's not good, because every time our administration fails, it sets our country back. It set our country back. Our country is not in a position where we can accept failure. And we'll say, you know what, the next government will just come and continue. Every time our administration fails, it set our country back. Yes. So we should all pray for our leaders to be successful. And then there will always be difference of opinion. When the next election come around, the platform that I agree with, I support that person. The platform you agree with, you support that person. But it should always be for the betterment of our country. Because if the least among us, life is not better after an administration leaves office, that government was a failure. That government was a failure. And I would just like to wrap up, with my opening statement. Thanks to you guys that watched the show. Please continue to share it. And I know that the thousands of people that will watch the rerun and stuff. Right. Please take one thing from it. We are all Liberian. And the fire situation that's going on in Liberia, like I mentioned at the start of the show, it bothered me. I had to suspend my giveaway show to take on the initiative or put out the challenge out there. Hashtag We Are Firefighters. I am raising money and purchasing smoke alarm and fire extinguishers. Hopefully, over the next few months, I can be able to send a few to Liberia. But I hope all platforms can take on this challenge. It's not going to stop fire, but it can give our people a fighting chance. Tomorrow, 6 p.m., I will be doing a show and raising money and doing awareness over the next few months. That's what I will be doing. And it's going to be free of charge. So I hope every major platform can take that on and send free smoke alarm and fire extinguishers to Liberia to give our people a fighting chance, especially Montserrado County, because we know out of every 20 fires, 19 or all 20 is in Montserrado. So let's help our people. It will save lives. That little boy that passed away really broke me. and that's why I decided to do what I'm doing now. So thank you, Legend, and thanks to my sister for the healthy debate. I look forward to being with you guys again.
Yes. And Francis, it's always my greatest pleasure having you on the platform. And for those who don't know Francis, we met on one of the other social media outlets, and he's been a very, very good, supportive Liberian. This man runs a show that he gives away funds all the time to Liberians through quizzing. It gets no better than that. Somebody who supports education and supports helping our people, because whatever he's doing it to make society a better one. Today, you guys did not see our co-host, Mr. Lofa Jr. He's dealing with some family issue, and we wish him all the very best. He's somewhere out there. Let's get. We're not going to go into that. We're just going to let our audience know.
Hey, let Legend explanation be. Let people take Legend explanation.
Thank you. Since Yasini, let people take what I say. He's dealing with some family issue. He's having a good time with his family. I'm happy for him. You take us where you are, and then I'll wrap it up.
Yeah, that's a record.
Okay.
Francis,
how many fire extinguishers are you trying to get?
I mean, personally, because most everything I do is self-funding. So, like I said, tomorrow will be the very first show. Since I suspended my giveaway to do this, personally, I want to purchase 1,000 smoke alarm. I know that's just a drop in the bucket, but that's why every time I appear, I talk about it. So hopefully my platform, his platform, your platform, or even anybody want to collaborate with me, we can all band together. It doesn't matter. We can raise 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 smoke alarm, whatever we can do over the next, let's say, 6 months, and send something to Liberia, even if it's one per home. And whatever we can do. I don't have a set number, but personally, myself, I want to purchase at least 1,000 myself. But if other people can come around and help, and we can increase that number, that would be even better.
Okay, so I think we started the conversation, at least me coming in with preparedness, right? You have to have a goal in any given time. I'm not being difficult.
No,
you have to
absolutely.
have a target.
Totally agree.
Yeah,
Totally
so
agree.
I have a target. If you exceed it, that's good. If you don't get it, I mean, you need more time to put in and more people to put in. Or what are you expecting? People buying per, or how much are those? I'm looking at, 5 like Amazon, if you have extinguishers, the little one for like 139, and I think Costco carried
I just bought a few. I mean, a few the ones that are 1 year battery power. The battery
you're talking about alarm?
Yeah, smoke alarm, smoke detector. I just bought about 14. Matter of fact, I have 5 more coming tomorrow. I'll have about 19, but I bought 14 for about $65. Amazon, it fluctuate, right? Sometimes you see these deals and stuff like that, and then it will run out of stock, and you have to buy something else. So that's what I'm doing on Amazon. When I see the deal, I buy it. But I'm not asking those that would want to donate. Don't send me money if you can help it. Just inbox me, purchase it, and just mail it to me. I'd rather you buy it and send it. But if you want to donate cash, that's fine. But I'd rather you buy it and send it if you can. Anybody that want to help out.
Okay.
So go ahead.
And this is a good idea.
So I would say we'll save the rest for behind the curtains in my area, and we'll let you to do your conclusion, and then we'll talk. We'll say off air in radio. We talk off air. So you take just
don't have a hot mic.
I know.
Okay. Again, Francis is I'm sure we met in passing somewhere, maybe via where we are. It's great having conversation with you. I love to hang out with young people, old people, have conversation where you agree, we disagree, because we come from different, view of the place or spiritual, but that's fine. You said something when you said when a government failed, we all fail. And that is the fact. Because if our country was doing well, you won't be begging. Like our nation have been begging since 1822. And we're still begging. They can say 1847. No. You remember, I don't know if you guys were in school then, or I don't know if it came back after the war. We used to sing this song in middle school back in 1822. Far across the sea, the ship was filled with plunder, seeking liberty. I remember that.
My voice is terrible. It wasn't like it back in 1822. Go ahead, my dear.
Something like that.
Yeah, so I can't sing, so I wouldn't even try. But thank you for trying. Now, you know, there's a saying that goes, leaders tend to gain more if they build upon where they're entrusted with, at least what it's got. If they have some foundation, they don't have to pluck everything up. What we've done over time is pluck of everything, then we start anew. Because we don't want to give credit for people who came before. No system, no processes. I keep asking though, why it is true we want the people. I want the people to succeed. I think I said so many times when Joshua was president, I want Joshua to prove me wrong, that everything that I said was wrong. I would apologize to you. In fact, when Joshua took over, I remember Magdalena Cooper on the field. She was really mad. The Liberian woman was saying, "Oh, he brought a foreign woman. He did this. He did that." I wrote and posted on Facebook, and I had the audience between me and Emmanuel Service in the diaspora. So everybody got quiet. I supported until the first incident, the second incident, then I no. So while we want to support, we also, if you bring us a leader, you supported a leader, okay, that you know we're not on the right path, you also have a responsibility to the children of Liberia, because the children of Liberia, that's the future, okay? Absolutely. To your country as a nationalist, if at all, okay, to hold them accountable. And if I have a reservation and you who supported that, you have no right to bully me. Okay, we all see things differently. Educate me instead of trying to be rude, cussing. What I've been asking for, though, and Esther, I'm going to say that I've been asking for a plan. Hope is not a strategy. Okay, telling me so we're happy in 100 days. It's not a plan. A plan is I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to do it. This is where it will end. This is where it will lead to in the end. That's a plan. Another thing is a budget from us from a business standpoint, okay? It's a forecast of your priority, where you look to accomplish. You can't tell me I will do. For us to move Liberia forward, we must be transparent. We also need to tap in the resources available to us. We're talking about our human capital. Other people have done it before we can do it. You, Jed, I hear you from talking. I believe you're a very smart young man. I would like to, catch up with you. I will come and support your platform. Maybe I'll pay for one, or I will send one fire extinguishers. If without the S, I'm sound like my auntie. Okay, fire alarm without the S, so it will not be two. It might be two. I'm not sure, but I want to say to all of you, thank you. Let's ask our leaders. Let's hold them accountable. Let's love them, but let's love our country the most. Let's prioritize our children. They are the future. Let's make our nation where other people can support and respect our nation. In the American passport, it says in this book, this is an American person. Wherever you see them, give them all the necessary help that they need. They mean that. Yeah. So I'm going to stop here. I ran home because you told me today I have to be there. Actually, I would have fundraiser. You see, I'm still dressed up. So I ran home because I promised I was going to come. And so I like to keep my word. I want to say thank you to you, Francis and Elston. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. But let's support at the same time. Let's put our country first.
We'll never stop the fight. The two of you were very articulate, and you both said it also. I'm going to say in my parting statement, long live our common patrimony in Liberia, and as always, as I say, as we grow in age, it is my ardent hope that we will continue to grow in age. This is how we God I'm calling you today.
Follow God, you might protect all the Bob. Follow in the Son, the Holy Spirit. Living up for God, tell it depend. Yeah, follow God, you might protect all the Bob. Go.
God can bless me, let's say, like only my one he knows. As long been ungrateful, yes, why I just wanna thank you. The thing what you do, and I hear what to pay. I just drop on my knees and pray. Stories are plenty, I know what to say, and I know what to say. Clip our lead and I follow. Look at the thing you do for crowd, and I even know about tomorrow. Oh, I just wanna pray. Can somebody help me pray? Get on your knees and pray. I just wanna pray. Oh, I just wanna pray. I used to fornicate, smoke weed and cup on. When it come to church, Ben, I used to go one time. But what kind of papa I saw ya? I don't deserve the things you do for me, oh. So I just wanna thank you, oh, for your blessing, your mercy, your hell about love and your favor. I know how to thank you, oh. Too much of Tina you did, papa. Too much of miracle you work, papa. Let power there for me. Yeah, my homie wearing black, but now I'm followed by young, feeling losing his son. So I just wanna pray. So I get pointed you in my boom. And my story let one more to be killing a June. I just wanna pray. Can somebody help me pray? Get on your knees and pray. I just wanna pray. Oh, I just wanna pray. Clipper, you know me, oh, you know me more than I know myself. Like you the one, the reason, yeah. CCP, oh, yeah. Like yeah, to shine. Like yeah, to go. Bless you. They don't know that clip what I feel. The papa can run the show. Satin and I carry on. You give me shit, tell me red, I hold rim. So I'm counting my blessings one by one. 1 second in the day, I hold top. God blessing you full of. Yes, swallow you, I will run to. When push gonna shop, oh. The things you did for me is more than enough. I just wanna pray. Can somebody help me pray? Get on your knees and pray. I just wanna pray. I just wanna pray.
R.I.P. Quincy B.
It's your all of the beats. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I just wanna pray. Drop on your knees and pray. Drop on your knees and pray.